Hi guys, in today's short video I want to introduce another Haiyaa sample. You can see my screen. For clearly explanation of this sample, I make a very simple PPT just to let you know what's the purpose of colorful barcode. In this example there are two barcode types. One is 1D barcode and 2D barcode. And all of the purpose of colorful barcode, there are three purposes. The main purpose is attractiveness. That means attractive to the end user, consumer, to scan the barcode. This one, I think, the most important purpose. Another purpose is for security printing and the brand protection use. Another small part, the purpose, especially for electronics label, I want to introduce. Let's go back example and introduce one by one. So the first line, there are two purposes. The first purpose is attractive and another purpose is brand protection. We developed this thing many years ago. First, like T-type. What's a T-type? T-type is like this. This is T-type. That means if this colorful barcode, maybe this color, there are three parts and this color. So like a T, so I call it a T-type. Here, the left up corner is purple and the right part is black and the bottom is dark blue. This one type. Another part I call it the position mark. Position mark, that means we put the colorful information in three final mark. Originally it is a black square. We replace the black square with colorful square. The color value can be programmed based on database, so you can check it in the future. The third also is a position mark, more color. The black outline is replaced by colorful line. This colorful line also can be programmed. We have a real case for a jacket brand, and this fourth type is single color. We have a real example for a Taiwan brands. They don't want colorful position mark, colorful content. They just ask me if we can do one label, one color, one label, one color. They can define as many colors as possible. For example, here is red. Maybe the next label is dark blue. So one label, one color. So I call it a single color. And this fifth type, we call it quartering. But this quartering is not like this, four part. This is four part. This is like a lining. This color, this color, this color, this color. Of course, we can support this direction or horizontal direction, four line, and vertical 4 line. Here is just one type of quartering colorful QR code. The four parts of color information can be programmed based on database. So it is also can be used for product authentication, the color value matching. Okay, the next is, we call it micro font QR. It's a very special type Haiyaa develop. There's no other player develop the same type. Haiyaa have a technology of microfont, so we combine Haiyaa microfont technology with colorful QR. The bottom color can be one color. Here is a red color. You can put a black or another color. Here you can see every small square we embed microfont. This microfont support spot color. That means we can use any color to print the microfont. This microfont is overlap with the bottom normal QR code. I show you. Yep. Here we're using the HPI1 spot to give a name of microtest color. This microtest is overprinted. For example, if your QR code is colorful, not black, you can using the black to print microtest. If your QR code is pure black, you can using this spot color to print invisible ink. So under the normal light, you see nothing because the bottom is black. You see nothing, but you can read it under the UV light. This is not for consumer use. I think it is for the brand owner use. Okay, next. This one is also a popular type. We have many customers using this type. In this QR code, the normal here is a black square line. We replace it. We have two options. One is using real microtest to lay out around found mark, but I found real microtest is too small, it's difficult to read. So we have another option is using a small size test to lay out around this found mark. So in this one, the content is variable. For the brand owner, they can embed the authentication code or another code inside this found mark to combine this small size variable test. So in this way, we can combine two information. The second line is also we have two purpose, but it's like application introduction. The QR is colorful and the pattern is colorful, so it is very attractive. They can attract the consumer to scan. Some the security printing software, they make its security technology high-end, very good, but it's difficult to use, or the consumer is not interested to use. It's no meaning. So why we develop colorful and put more efforts on some pattern generated development. So in this way, we take several examples. Here is the first example. It's very simple. It's a colorful cartridge QR. Working with the digital fiber, we can use in the CMYK and the spot color to combine this pattern. We've generated in advance. It's a digital file, PDF. At the same time, we can auto PNG file. You can upload the PNG low resolution, small size to the cloud and install on the cloud. So this application, the consumer can scan this QR code. The pattern will appear on the mobile phone. Here we also take example of this solution. The idea is the same, but we put more special things inside this QR code. So we call it multi-layer QR. What's the multi-layer QR? That means in this QR code, we combine several technology inside it. I take example to you like this. For example, the QR code itself, the content is variable. The second is the centered part, the centered window. The type, we can variable, different type. And the third is we can put some, here is not a micro test, small size test. Of course, you can put a micro test inside this centered window. A centered window, we can put a test, image, and a barcode. That means in the centered window, we can put a small barcode. Because you know, Haiyaa has a very special technology. We can make the barcode very small. And the fourth is we can put a micro test inside the found mark. This one and around this one. We also can embed the variable CID code. CID code is a pattern combined with many small dots. It is not a technology Haiyaa developed. So we can embed their CID pattern image. We overlap. Okay. And this one is we put a micro image in this found mark. Around is micro test, around this mini image. The purpose is the security and track and trace and the fun. Another part is like this. I introduced just now. I'll go back. I go to the printer preview. You can see micro test here. The right part is a pattern a Haiyaa developed. So we call it bacteria. In this one, you see we have a sample printed by HB Indigo. Use their invisible ink to print spot color 5 and using the silver ink to print a spot color 6. So if you get this sample, you can scan the left QR code. There's a pattern appear on your mobile phone. There's a 3 mode. The full sight mode is full pattern, and the invisible mode is you can just see this one. See this one. Of course, you need to use the UV light to shine this sample. You can see this pattern appear. And another is silver ink. So in this pattern, you can see 3 patterns you can compare. Go back. We develop another high-end technology is using small size test to combine the digital fiber like this one. I call it fiber test pattern. The special is this variable test can be printed by CMYK, the spot color like invisible ink or silver ink or another spot color ink. This another pattern is color line pattern. The pattern is fixed, but each line color can be variable, randomly changed. It's also working with the QR code. It's also used for authentication pattern in the whole workflow. This pattern need to be uploaded in the cloud, in the website. Let me check. First, multi-layer QR code for security, track and trace, and fun. And the bacterial pattern use invisible ink and silver ink to print more patterns to match. Okay. The third is fiber test pattern. The fiber combined with small size test, invisible ink to print some fibers. It's a high end. And the fourth is color line pattern, fixed line pattern, the fixed but colorful, invisible ink to print. This is the explanation of the second part. This part is only for attractive. This type of, we call it internal quadrangle, and the color can be variable. But here we only support not CMYK, just RGB. We developed these types many years ago, not for security, just for attractive. And this is, I call it font matrix QR. Font matrix QR, that means we're using a micro test or small size test to replace the original black small square. But in this way, we need to do more testing before final mass production, because you need to adjust the micro test size. If it's too small, it is too light, difficult to read. Compare this type, font matrix QR and micro font QR. This one we can guarantee we can read it, because there's a bottom QR code pattern. But here in this font matrix QR, the microtest should be a little bit large, otherwise you cannot read it. This is invented by Haiyaa. We make it for attractive, not for security. Of course you can apply to security. And this one is full color. Full color, we only support RGB. It's only for attractiveness. That means we can define as many color as possible. We combine this colorful information, small square dot, combined together to form a fully colorful QR code. It's just for fun. Develop kinds of QR code. We give a name, circle.QR. We can adjust the circle, the size. We can give the color. Here is the full color. We only replace small black square dot with the circle. Another type is the leaf find mark QR. On the market, many people ask Haiyaa to develop some special. They will give examples. Most of the same concept. They just change the find mark. We are not strongly recommend or strongly suggest the customer using this way, because it will lower the recognition. But some customer like, so we develop some types. Here is the one type. It's like a leaf, but with special is in this application, Haiyaa can give another option. That means I open the software. For example, it's the content of QR, like this QR. But special is Haiyaa can give you a choice. For example, you type this type round. You see nothing on the desktop, but when you print out, the square dot is round. And the flower like a flower, and the black, yeah, it's very special. So if you have any idea, you can design this find mark by yourself, then overlap of this QR code. That means you can define a pattern, any type you like. You just guarantee you can read it. It's very important. And save a PDF file and overlap QR code. It gives you capability to freely design your QR code, your own find mark QR code. So it's very important. Go back. And this type is for the CI, Corporation Identity QR. Why I call this name? Because many brand owners want to embed their logo inside the QR. It's easy for Haiyaa. We call it imaged QR. Haiyaa has a special technology. We can make the black part transparent, and you just put your logo image under the QR. It's a mask. So when you print, the bottom image will display, so you can see this effect. It is normally embedded a logo inside it. Okay. And in this part, there's two examples. It's electronics label and the brand protection. Why we put this example here? Because we found it's a very special technology. That means we can make the width and height not a 1:1 or 1:2. Here you can define 1 to 1.6. Why we develop this? The label is stick on it's not a flat product surface. It's a round product surface. It will lower recognition level. But we make this type in this ratio. For example, it's a surface. So you stick the label on this surface. if the QR code size is normal way, so you scan it, it's difficult to read, right? But if you make this in this way, when you scan in the vertical angle, it's easy to read. So we can make this one. And another is we have a special technology can make QR code or data matrix very small, because we have a compensation technology to compensate the dot gain, especially for UV inkjet or electronics ink printing. For example, here is 17 digits. We can make it smaller to 2.35. The recognition level, A level is 85%. And this one is another examples, especially for the electronics label. Some electronics label, the substrate is pure black, so you need to print the white ink QR code or data matrix. Another way is the substrate is white, you print the black ink to produce the QR code or data matrix. There's two ways, both of them we can support. So in the example, the deformation of the height and the width ratio, deformation we can support at any ratio. And the second is very small size we can make, especially for electronics label, because on the chip there's small space to put the QR code or data matrix. So it's very important. And the third is using the white ink to print on the black paper from a normal QR or reverse. And this one is another example for protection and darkroom. It's not very special. It's to work with a special ink. For example, invisible ink to print the QR code. Let me check. Here we're using a HPI2 to name the spot color. HPI2 you can using the invisible ink to print. So on the normal light you see nothing, but under the UV light you can see this QR code. This one is another application. This application need to working with special device. This pattern you see is black. Actually, it's combined with CMY. This background, the bottom layer is CMY. Here is just the black. So special device can capture the QR code. This QR code is printed by the pure black. The wavelength is different, so they can capture it, the black ink, because its wavelength is different with CMY ink. So it's a CMY image plus a pure black ink QR. Need a special device to read. If you haven't a special device, you cannot see this QR code. So it's for brand protection use. This is another technology invented by Haiyaa. I introduced many times. It's called sandwich printing. But in this example, this is just a guide like this. This is called sandwich printing. In Haiyaa side, we call it Haiyaa Oreo label. This is a label. Stick on the product. The consumer buy these goods. They peel off the front label off. Peel off. At the back side of this label, there's another information. Here is a colorful QR and the color authentication code. The special is this QR code and the front side QR code is totally matched and printed one pass. The PDF file is produced by Haiyaa and the printing using HP Indigo to print. Go back like this. Here is just for example guide. Only when peel off, you can scan the backside QR to protect from intentively scan. There are several barcode applications. Here is the colorful yen. Each line we can define the color information. Different label, different color sequence. Okay, this is one type. Another type is we can put fiber pattern in a circle dot combined with the normal the barcode. Well, here is black. But we can make it colorful. You have more information to compare. This is random vertical. So vertical line, the color is different, and the color information is variable. And this is a half tone. From up to bottom, the color is half tone effect. I call it the variable vertical half tone barcode. Here is very special. We embedded a micro test inside the barcode. You see it. We have another example. Show you this one. Normally on the barcode side, many people say we cannot make it security use. Okay, here Haiyaa developed a new technology. We can embed the micro test inside the barcode. And the same way we can use the invisible ink to print or use the black ink to print. And the bottom can be colorful. We can define this one we have a customer. The content is the same, but inside the microtest content is variable. If you have a magnifier, you can see the microtest inside. And in this part, it's widely used. That means using the colorful QR code combined with colorful code combined together. Some customer will get a number from the bottom code and put this number inside the centered part and give the color. There's many variation. Some are using the italic, bold, or highlight. In the colorful authentication code, there are many variation. We have many examples. If you have interest, you can contact us. We can give you another example. And this one is a V-card. V-card means you can scan this one. The contents information will display on your mobile phone. You just save it to your contact list. Anyone who want to end your telephone, your name information, they just scan it. They will appear. You can scan it. It's my contacts information. You can scan to end. We can use QR code using 1D barcode, 2D barcode in many applications. So Haiyaa thinking to put this application inside the example just to give you idea. We can think how to make full use of QR code data matrix 1D barcode, 2D barcode. So we give a name how the barcode brings the value. Okay, that's the end of the introduction of the example. Thanks for your watching.